As a part of the Made in Sunderland campaign, we're exploring the deeper rooted connection between this city and its people. Joining us is someone who's arrived as a player and becoming a pillar of this community. Welcome SCFC's very own Luke O'Nien.
Thanks very much for having me on. What a lovely introduction as well.
I know, not bad, eh?
Never been called a pillar before.
Luke, you arrived here in 2018. There's a difference between living in the city and it's obviously feeling like home. Was there a specific moment or an interaction that shift happened for you?
I think you call a place home when you go through places you remember, the places there where things happen to you that you remember. And I think there's so many events that has made this place my home.
Yeah.
From football, football, there's many stories from not settling at the start to most recently Ballard's goal, the Premier League season, 4 years in League One. It's the football side, there's countless stories that I could add to, and it's probably more actually not the Ballard moments that actually make it home. It's probably more the opposite side, and it's the ones that probably are not the so-called sexy moments that make the highlights that actually probably make it home, where where you have to look in the mirror, things aren't going well. I'm a big believer in life really starts when you're not maybe getting the things that you're expecting. Maybe that's minutes, maybe you're injured. I think that's really where you call the place home, is when you go through them things and then you look around, see where you are, see the people that are there with you. And that over the last 8 years has probably been one of the reasons why I call it home. Plus 2 little kids that are always jumping on my back when I get home. I've got married up here and it's just been a massive part of my life.
Fast. You've seen the Sunderland landscape change, the new bridge, the Riverside development, the sheepholds and much more. From the player's perspective, do you feel like the physical growth, like the energy you feel from the fans on match day?
I was at the sheepfolds the other day and the food was lovely.
Yeah.
I had a lovely Sunday roast there, so it's highly recommended. So yeah, listen, I was actually sitting, I was sitting there and I was really enjoying the food, and I was looking at the bridge.
Yeah.
And it was just stunning, because it was, I know it's been compared to kind of the Wembley walkway.
Yeah.
And I think that's just special, just seeing, fans come in waves. I know it connects the stadium to the town. So it's I think it's beautiful. I think I look forward to maybe not playing and actually like kind of walking across it, and it connects the city to the stadium. I don't think there's anything more special than that. So next time I'm not playing, I'm gonna put my hood up and walk across it. So yeah, it's special. The players feel it. I think we've referenced a lot the fans, the area, and what it means to people in pre-game talks. Granite's done it. We had before the Newcastle game, our kit man Kev actually took part of the team talk, and we reference what it means to the people and what it means to the area on a regular basis this season, as a form of motivation, as the why behind why we do things. And I think that's important.
You're known as one of the most hard-working players on the pitch. That grit is like a Sunderland trademark. When did you realise that just being a footballer wasn't enough for this city?
I think my wife's actually, that's something that she's probably, my wife, my mum and dad, my family, they are, they've instilled that with me since growing up, that, football doesn't earn you anything. It's how you interact with people. It's how you make people feel. That's something that they've instilled with me since I was a kid, regardless of football. That's every interaction I ever had, and I'm doing the same with my kids now. So that's kind of in my family's kind of setup, and I think that's important, that when people join this place now, we've created that. And you've got someone like Granite, who's, I think everyone sees that he's a first-class footballer, but what people might not see, and I'm telling you this for a fact, he's a world-class human being. And I think that's so important, that's always the leading part of this club, is that people always go, he's a good human. He's a great footballer, but it's no, he's a good footballer, he's a good human. And I think they come hand in hand. So that's important for me, for my kids and for my family. And I see that in the people of everyone in the city of Sunderland. So maybe that's one of the reasons why we've got on. But I think that's always important in every interaction, and that we're going to look to instill that over the next few years for this club as well.
Yeah. The Till the End campaign is perfectly captured in the NE spirit. How would you describe the unique DNA of the Sunderland supporters compared to anywhere else in the country?
I think that till the end campaign, that person needs the statue of them,
Yeah.
because honestly, the way that everything's just filtered to that kind of motto has just been so perfect.
Yeah.
And I think it is the Sunderland spirit, which I'm still learning to this day. I don't think it's something you can ever fully understand. The more you live in it, the more you understand it. And it's like, that is this city here, is that people will fight and scrap for every single ball out there, even when they're not playing. They're in the crowd going like this. And yeah, I think that's just a phrase that's just really summed up this area so well. And I think for the players to feel that and to respond with that consistently, it's special. Like I think it's nice to reference some of the players. So I did a training session about 2 weeks ago, and everyone was in international duty. Everyone. There's like 3 players that weren't, and it was me, Ronaldo, and Enzo. And we're in like a training session where they brought the under-23s up. So we've got some young players coming up, some of the under-18s, and it was like we've been training for an hour. It was intense, and there was a clip where, and I've got it on my phone, I've saved it, where Ronaldo dribbled the ball, lost it in small-sided games, one of the young lads. And I've watched it. It's literally the last play of small-sided games. It's, I don't know, we're winning 5-3, and he sprints all the way back, chases this fella all the way back, slides and wins the ball. And I think like people won't maybe not understand or see that stuff, but it's like that's what makes him a very high-level player. I think it's incredible because he doesn't need to do that. He could easily just give the ball away, walk, and we still win the game. But the fact that you've got one of the most senior players who's been to the very top, played the Champions League, won silverware, played international, and he's chasing one of the young lads all the way back after he's given the ball away in the last second of training to slide to stop the guy from crossing. Like, that's the thing that sticks out to me is you have that's the culture. You have a player that decides just, and that's till the end motto.
Yeah.
Till the end doesn't just turn up on the weekend, it's till the end. It's every single day in training, when you step over that white line, every action is that motto. Because if you do that enough, then you earn them rights for the Dan Ballard moments, for the Tommy Watson moments. You don't just step out on the weekend, see the motto, and then you get it. No. Them moments, they're actually like, Dan Ballard earned that moment months before when he was injured.
Yeah.
He kept turning up in the gym, kept doing the reps. And then that's kind of like, the best way to say it is like delayed gratification. Yeah. You earn that delayed gratification through kind of doing them every single day.
Our students are the future of the city's workforce. What role do you think young people play in keeping Sunderland's soul alive as the city modernises?
I think it's the first thing that came to my head is kind of like the ideas and the energy.
Yeah.
You know, you go back even younger, and I look at my kids, for example. My kids inspire me because it's the sheer relentlessness of fun, energy, imagination, creativity. Yeah. And I think that's what the younger generation are going to bring to the city. I think as we all get old, we get more boring and more rigid. And I think the young kids, they're going to provide that spontaneity, the creativity, you can say no, but I'm just going to keep turning up every single day. And I think that's so important because, you know, you want fresh ideas, you want new thinking, you want people thinking out the box. You want someone come out with an idea, go, you're a bit weird. And you're like, yeah, bring that. Because that's what you need. You need different thinking. If everyone's thinking the same way, it's not going to work. Yeah. You need different thinking. You need people that are just never going to take no for an answer, keep showing up. And I think every young person is going to have a different personality and a different idea, but bring that together, and that's going to be the driving force. For the football club, you look at Chris Rigg, you look at some of the young players coming through, and also for the city, take football out of it for everything. Yeah,
100%. Aside from the Stadium of Light, where's the one local spot where you feel most like local and least like a pro athlete?
The beach.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I'm there every week. I'm there with the kids. Yeah, we'll just be scooting down and sometimes in the sea, sometimes not. At the arcades. I've told someone just to rewire my money straight to the arcades, because that's where, the arcades and the beach, I think. Like there was a stage where in the last few years we used to go to the arcades, the Stack, weekly. It was our weekly routine. The kids loved it. And now we're scooting down. We're getting we're trying to get the scooters or the bikes down and things like that. It's I love that place.
If you had to pick one moment that defines your relationship with this club and the city, what is it?
I think winning at Wembley. I don't know why I even said that, because I only played 2 minutes.
Are you still a part of the setup though?
Yeah,
the
but
full
I
thing?
didn't care. I was still all in. Like,
Yeah.
it's not about me. It's just about the team succeeding. I was like, I became a fan. I really got to feel how they felt. It was horrible. I was so out of control and I couldn't influence it, but I was still trying to cheer. And you can, if like fans don't realize how much they can influence. And I tried to do that the best I could when I was injured. But I think that whole playoff campaign was probably it. You lose 5 or 6, and it's like, okay, that's football, that's life.
Yeah.
We learn, we move forwards, and then coming together for the playoffs and that Wembley campaign, that was a product of losing 5 games in a row.
Yeah.
And that was the delayed gratification of losing them 5 games and then going, okay, we're still here. We're still going to try and do the right things. And then, yeah, we managed to find a way to make it click. But that kind of playoff campaign, I'm stressful. We're just, we're looking at the champ now, looking at the playoffs going. We're like, there's no playoffs this year. It's nice.
The phrase made in Sunderland often refers to the shipbuilding, but for a person, whether it's a student of obviously University of Sunderland or a player at the academy, what does made in Sunderland actually mean for you?
I think it's trying to find a way to contribute that's beyond yourself. I think when I first joined here, I think naturally I was young, probably selfish, and it was more, what do I need to do? Where do I need to go? What do I need to achieve? And I think you spend enough time in a place that's like this, you then shift from I to we. And that took a while for me. And I don't know if people that have been here would have seen that shift. And I'm still trying to shift it now. And like having wife and kids does shift it. But when you shift from what do I need to what does Sunderland need? What does the team need? And you start putting them first instead of yourself, then you start to like just see the world differently and in a much more, I don't know, wide-eyed way, because you take everything off you and you start seeing other people, you start trying to bring them in, and then what you can achieve by yourself versus what you can achieve together, like it's chalk and cheese. So it's finding the way to contribute beyond yourself, and I'm still trying to find ways to do that. I'm trying to do it when I'm not playing, I'm trying to do it when I'm playing, I'm trying to do it every day in training. And yeah, I think it's knowing what you're trying to achieve. So that's one of my goals. And every single day, like every action, every conversation, it filters towards that. And you get it wrong sometimes.
Yeah,
like sometimes you have bad days, but it's like more days than not, if you know where that direction is going, then you can always reference back to it. And if more days you're going in that right direction than wrong direction, then you're going to leave an imprint on the city that's only going to leave it in a better place from when you first came in. And I think if all of us do that, then, you know, look at the direction that Sunderland's gone in the last few years, last 10 years, it's just going like that.
Yeah.
And I think a lot of people are doing that, and we've just got to make sure, even in the bad days, that you keep looking in that direction. And then more times than not, I think we'll get it right.
So quick fire questions. Obviously, one word to describe the SCFC fans.
Passionate.
What is your go-to local takeaway or restaurant in Sunderland?
Can I have 2?
Can you or can you not?
Do one takeaway.
Go on.
Oh,
Go on
yeah,
then.
that's fair.
One takeaway, one restaurant.
Bellinis.
Oh, wow.
Oh, yeah.
Lovely glass.
Yeah, I'll probably have more Bellinis than start this season. Bellinis, and then Coleman's Seafood Temple.
Wow.
Yeah.
If you had to pick one song to play as people walk across the bridge, what would it be?
Maroon 5, She Will Be Loved.
And
It's a great song, right?
it's a very good song. They were going to think that you were going to put the classic, which one was it? The hype song for Sunderland. Wise Man Saying, that's the one.
I redo. Hang on, what called song? A walk. You have to have a sing song.
Yeah.
But yeah, you want everyone coming across the bridge, bouncing,
Yeah, of
MEG. So what's a good? Maybe Shakira, Waka Waka.
Laka.
Very good, no?
That's a brilliant one as well. Thanks for joining us, Luke. Now that's a wrap.
My pleasure. Thanks for having me.
Appreciate it.